Hi friends and welcome to Crumbz from Gerard. Today's reading says, Then Jesus opened their minds to understand the scriptures. Today friends, I would like to share with you a simple method of praying called the Benedictine Method. This is the method that Saint Benedict taught his monks in the 5th century, nearly 1500 years back. It is a very simple method. It's also called the Lectio Divina. It has 4 steps. Let me try to explain this method very briefly to you. Once you learn this method of praying, you will be able to pray at all times using scripture so that Jesus may open your hearts to understand Him and you have a deep personal experience of Him. Now, Lectio Divina has 4 steps, and the 4 steps they have their Latin names, but I have simplified it into 4 R's. So let me take a passage of scripture, today's reading itself. So the first thing is to take a passage of scripture. Now you could take any passage of scripture, but ideal is taking something of the New Testament or the Psalms. They fit in best for this method. So today's scripture. Now the first step is read. Now the important thing is not to read much. The important thing is to fill your heart. So while the passage itself might be a longer passage as today's scripture, you might read just a part until your heart is warmed. So let us start with today's reading. Then they told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread. While they were talking about this, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, Peace be with you. Now, my friends, the scripture passage of today goes on. But when you reach these words, peace be with you, maybe, as in my case, you feel your heart has been warmed. So now what do? Do you carry on? No. Now pause. We don't just need to read scripture. The important thing is to relish scripture. So when something warms your heart, stop. So you have read, that's the first R. The second R is to repeat. So once you've found something that warms your heart, keep repeating it. So hear the words, peace be with you. Just keep repeating it. Peace be with you. Slowly. Peace be with you. You don't have to read it aloud or say it aloud, even just to yourself in silence. Just keep repeating, peace be with you. Now once you feel your heart has been filled with those words, now what do? Now we reach the third R, and that is relish. Now you relish those words in silence. It's like when two persons are in love, sometimes they use words, but very often just being at the side of each other is enough. And this third R is relish. The actual word is contemplation. Just being with the Lord in silence. How long? Until your heart is filled with that silence. Then what do? The fourth R is respond. So now you speak to the Lord freely in spontaneous prayer as your heart leads you. So for example, you might say, Yes, Lord, thank you for giving me your peace. Today I've had a difficult time and I needed your peace. You have filled my heart with your peace, and so on. So you see, simply that. 4 steps. So first R is read. How much? Until your heart is filled. When your heart is filled, then the second, repeat. Keep repeating that one phrase or maybe even a word that has touched your heart. Keep repeating it until your heart is filled. Then the third R, relish. Remain in silence. This is the most important part. Enjoying the silence in the presence of the Lord. And then the fourth R, respond. Now speak spontaneously to the Lord. Now what do you discover through this? You have used 4 methods of praying actually. First R is read, spiritual reading,   , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , , a repetitive prayer like how the rosary or a mantra you keep saying again and again. The third R is relish, contemplation, being in silence. And the fourth R is respond, spontaneous prayer. My dear friends, get into this habit. Whenever you're reading scripture, you might want to use the 4R method, called also the Benedictine method or the Lectio Divina. I like to call it simply the 4Rs. So read, repeat, relish, and respond. God bless you.